Tonight, a special broadcast on what today became an acute nuclear emergency in Japan, with 3 reactors melting down, a fuel fire in a 4th, and spent fuel rods exposed to the air. One official told ABC News, quote, "It would be hard to describe how alarming this is right now." And as a small group of remaining workers battle to cool the molten rods at the reactor's core, nuclear scientists voiced alarm as well. There is grave concern that if the containment walls around the plants fail, a dense radioactive cloud might be spewed into the air and be carried by wind and weather to large population centers in Japan. The news prompted expatriates and Japanese alike to crowd airports and roads looking for ways out. Many left Sendai, north of the damaged nuclear plant. ABC News' Clarissa Ward reports now from Osaka, Japan, about 360 miles southwest of the plant.
We've come down to the southern city of Osaka, and it's about 240 miles south of Tokyo. And the reason we've come here, of course, is because of that increasingly dicey situation at the nuclear plant in Fukushima.
The Japanese military is now dumping water literally into a hole in the roof of reactor number 3, caused by an explosion, and they were spraying water from reactor number 4. They tried yesterday and had to abort due to high levels of radiation, all in an attempt to cool down the radioactive rods that are now fully exposed. All day long, the last line of defense against a full-on nuclear catastrophe has been a small group of employees working deep inside the plant armed with flashlights and hoses. It would be hard to describe how alarming this is right now, an American official told ABC News. He said everyone recognizes this is a suicide mission. The only glimpse of what was going on inside the plant came from their family members. "My husband is working knowing he could be radiated," said the wife of one. "He wrote me an email. It was pretty desperate. Please continue to live well. I cannot be home for a while." Another wrote in an email to the Japanese television network NHK. "My father is still working at the plant. They're running out of food. He said he has accepted his fate, much like a death sentence."
So we bought a copy of the newspapers here, and of course the nuclear fallout is dominating coverage, and everywhere you go people are talking about it. But what's not the focus here is the men who are going inside and risking their lives in order to try to put out this crisis. And it's kind of interesting when you talk to people here, they don't see these men as heroes in the same way as maybe you or I would do. They see them more as fulfilling their duty or taking care of their responsibilities.
When you build nuclear power plants, you have to think this sort of thing could happen, a taxi driver tells me. Even so, I really appreciate what they are doing. "Well, it's a hard job, I know, but they have to do it," this man says. "If they don't, we'll be in serious danger." It was a day filled with ominous developments, radioactive rods entirely exposed, a surge in radiation levels, and smoke billowing from reactors. At one, an explosion blew out the roof and outer walls, possibly cracking the critical cement containment vessel that holds the radioactive material inside. The Japanese government ordered residents within a 12-mile radius of the plant to evacuate. Those who could, did. Those who could not received a terrifying directive. Stay inside, close your windows and doors. Essentially, shut yourselves off from exposure to the outside elements. A local Japanese television crew defied that directive and found patients stranded inside a hospital and doctors who had stayed behind to care for them. "We aren't really supposed to stay here, but it's our job," one of them says. The staff is too scared to open their locked doors to outsiders and only do so after scanning for radiation. At a home for the elderly, a staff member said, "My family has already evacuated and I want to run to join them, but I'm hanging on and continuing my work here. I want to move the elderlies to a safer location." And at this school where people are taking shelter, the situation is just as grim. "My blood pressure has shot up and I've forgotten my medicine." The doctor here told the TV crew, "We can't last another 3 days. They're distributing drugs, but so far I haven't gotten any." Information is scarce for those living in what has essentially become ground zero, said one man. "We weren't told when the first reactor exploded. We were only told on TV. We're isolated. We're being left here to die." After a week in which the situation in the nuclear plants here seems to be going from bad to worse, some experts are saying this crisis could rival the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. The biggest concern now is keeping the reactors cool so that they don't melt and release radioactive particles into the air. Outside the plant, radiation levels are in flux. At their worst, they're tantamount to getting 10,000 X-rays in an hour, some reaching distances as far as 70 miles away. And faint levels are being measured as far as 70 miles away.
Emergency scenarios suggest that retirees would likely be asked to volunteer next, not because they're more skilled or because they're more expendable, but because even if they are exposed to massive amounts of radiation, those radiation-induced cancers would likely take years to develop.